Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you why muscle loss doesn't happen on keto. It's very unlikely that you will get and experience any muscle loss while you're doing a ketogenic diet, especially for fat loss purposes, and not a lot of people really know this. They actually think it's the opposite, but in reality you're much less likely to burn your own muscle on keto. So, the second you are in a calorie deficit, you run the risk for burning your own protein. Now, you can Google this, but the second you have ketones in your blood, you are much less likely to use your own protein as a fuel source. Now, on keto, there is a process called gluconeogenesis. This process happens on any diet, really. And it's where your body takes excess protein and turns it into carb energy. Keto uses gluconeogenesis, where you take that protein and basically convert it into glucose for your muscles, so you can go and crank out some more bench press 1 rep maxes, right? If you truly wanted to. It's always a reserve fuel. Carbs, they're always an emergency fuel. And fat can get you 95% of the way done for every other activity. When you're on keto, you're tapping into that fat. You're tapping into that fat and you're not running on a carb metabolism. So when you're on a carb metabolism, your primary fuel is carbs. And when you gradually decrease those carbs, because that's inevitable on any carb diet, you're going to have to lower the carbs than calories, just without making that jump to keto. When you inevitably get lower in carbs, once you get to a point where you're using most of your carbs immediately, and you're just basically refilling your carb stores and then using them, what's going to happen is your body is going to be in a state where it's not as effective at burning fat, and it doesn't have enough of its energy source, which is carbs. So when you're on a carb diet and you get to that point where you're not primed to be burning fat all day long, because keto increases your ability to burn fat, and then you're very low on carb energy, your body's going to say, shit, if your protein isn't high enough, you're going to pull from your own protein source. That's the reason why these carb diets have such high amounts of protein, because you really run the risk of taking your own protein, and you would rather have your body take that protein from your food. When you're on keto, gluconeogenesis is much more of a demand-driven state. So gluconeogenesis, that protein creating into glucose, turning into glucose, happens basically from the same amount every single day of all the food you're eating. So whether you're eating certain amounts of protein less each day or more each day, the same amount of grams are going to be converted into glucose every day. And you don't need to force extra amounts of protein, because what's going to happen is your body is not in a scarcity state. People say keto is a scarcity state, a starvation diet, but it's not. Your body prefers to run on fat, and that's why it has more calories per gram, and that's why we store so much more fat than carbs. That's why our brains are made almost entirely of fat, and our cell walls are made of fat. Your body prefers fat, and it's much less likely to use protein, because it's harder to convert protein into fuel that would be conducive on keto than to convert it into fuel that would be better for a carb-based diet. So when you have a high amount of protein and low carbs, you're still much less likely to burn your own protein. But you're almost just putting that high protein as a safeguard to say, shit, in case I get really low on energy, I need to have this protein in place, otherwise I'll burn my own muscle. On keto, you don't need to go low protein, that's a myth. But if your protein is good enough, adequate enough, and you're basically eating no carbs, your body's always going to be burning fat. And your body wouldn't want to turn protein into fat, because it's not an efficient energy process. Your body is much more likely to do that when it's on carbs, and gluconeogenesis is primed and ready all day long. So basically, if you're deciding between a carb diet and a non-carb diet, I always prefer the keto diet. But with muscle loss, keto muscle loss is much less likely. Fat burning mode shuts off protein metabolism, because fat burning mode is preservation mode. So your body's only going to use protein as an energy source if you get to the point where you're truly starving yourself, where you're just lean, shredded to the bone, and you're not eating any calories after that point. That's the only time where you're going to burn your own muscle. But that would happen on any diet, when you get lean, shredded to the bone, and you give yourself 500 calories a day and you starve yourself. That is what a starvation diet actually is. So carb-based diets in that regard are not going to allow you to keep your muscle any better than keto diets. In fact, they run a higher risk because keto diets will put your body in a mode where it's not even looking at protein. It's just automatically taking a certain amount of protein every day, putting it into your muscles as carb fuel, and then you might be forcing the supply with a carb-based diet if you're having shitloads of protein. You might be forcing your body to say, okay, we got 300 grams of protein in here today, we got to start performing more gluconeogenesis. This is just going to further deepen how much carb fuel you're running through each day and further increase the likelihood of your body wanting to run on carb fuel, which it can easily metabolize from protein. So hopefully this video wasn't too convoluted for you. In general, you run a very low risk of using protein from your muscles as fuel on keto. When you have a carb-based diet, you're much more likely to force the supply of gluconeogenesis and instigate gluconeogenesis from your own muscles because, well, from there you actually might not even, if your protein's 300 grams a day, it's probably not going to come from your muscles. You're just going to be reinforcing gluconeogenesis and probably ruining your fat loss. So overall, muscle loss on keto is not an issue. It's much more of an issue if you're going very low carb, but not quite keto, and then your protein isn't adequate. That's the scenario where you will lose protein from your muscles. So thank you for watching this video. Leave me some questions and comments on protein, muscle loss, gluconeogenesis, anything like that. I will answer you. Also have free meal plans, free training plans in the description, and I'm going to have personal coaching very soon up and running so I can work with you one-on-one and get you to your goals. I do many things with that coaching. I've helped plenty of people with keto bulks, keto fat loss, cycles of keto, cyclical keto, targeted keto, and also just keto for lifestyle and mental performance and how you feel. So that's many of the areas that will be up and running very soon. Let me know if you're interested in that. And beyond that, join my Facebook group if you want to talk to other people and share your experiences. Thanks for watching. My name is Anthony Romano. Peace.